Hi guys, it's X. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing what to bring to an interview, what to talk about during your interview, and just tips and tricks that I have learned along the way. So if you'd like to see that, just keep on watching. But before you swipe me away or click me out of this video, please like, comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you. I already made a video on where to apply as a new grad, so if you haven't watched that video, I will link it down below. But I recently was asked, not personally, but just in a group message, what does your resume look like? And why haven't I made this video is what I thought to myself. So I'm going to show you what is in my personal portfolio, how many of these I made, and just tips and tricks that I learned along the way in the interview process. So the first thing, as a new grad, you want to stand out, correct? So I actually had no idea what to put on my resume. And so I asked a friend of mine who had already applied, got a job, like what her resume looked like. And when she sent me hers, I was totally intimidated. I'm like, I don't have nearly the same GPA, the experience she does. Like, my resume just does not look as good as she does. And I was a little bit intimidated. I was like, I'm never going to find a job. However, I doubted myself way too early. So there are some aspects that I feel you guys should not compare yourself to other people. If you want to stand out, make sure you put things in your resume to help you with that. So one of the first places that I ever interviewed at put me through the ringer. And I mean, I had to show them proof that I graduated within a year of an accredited nursing school. They wanted a 2-page paper on why I wanted to work for them, my letter of intent, I think like 3 references on why they should hire me, and then all my certifications, degrees, and stuff like that. After that, I had a phone interview, then I had a panel interview, and then I interviewed with the CNO of the hospital. After all that, they told me they would call me by Wednesday, and I didn't get a phone call, and I was devastated. I was like, what could I have done to go all the way and then lose it? And then that Friday, I got a phone call that I got my job. So I'm not gonna lie to you, some places get up to like 300 applicants of a new grad program. So how do you stand out and stuff like that? I'm going to show you what I have on my resume. I'm going to show you what I have in my portfolio. And so things have changed a little bit because I am now a nurse. So there's things in here that I'm going to show you, but I was advised to make 5 of these portfolios because if you have a panel interview, you want to make sure somebody has one for everything. Some hospitals are more sophisticated than others. The first hospital that I ever interviewed at actually had iPads and they had all my information with me. But when I applied, I was applying online and I was told that that would be enough. I went in person and dropped this off with HR, and I'm very thankful that I did because when it came down to my interview, they told me that all my online stuff was not found. The only thing they had was my hard copy of my portfolio. So luck of the draw, that is just me. That is my luck always. So I was actually glad that I did this. But anyway, let's move on. So 2 things. When I was in nursing school, I was advised that I should probably I wanted to work in the ICU. Not a lot of places hire in the ICU, but I wanted to make sure that these places knew that I was serious about this. So I did go ahead and get my BLS, my ACLS. They gave me a pharmacology card in one of the classes just stating that I learned all these drugs. And some students had actually reached out to me and said, hey, don't spend the money if you don't have it. Like, places will pay for you to get these classes, which is totally true. You will get these classes if you get hired. However, I wanted what was going to separate me from other people. I want them to know that I was serious about this. So if there was any class, any certification that I could have got before actually getting hired as a new grad, I made sure I did it just because I wanted just that little inch to stand out. Like, you don't even have to train me on this. I got this. So I went and bought 5 of these folders. And I liked this one specifically. I'm gonna take my resume out of here just because it does have my address on it. But I liked that in the front here, you could put the papers. So I put my resume in here so that when they look at it, they can already see what I am about. So obviously, let me see if I could try to hide my address and my name. But I put my schools. Like I said, this is a little bit different than a new grad because I am now a professional nurse, where I've worked, all the rotations that I did as a student, how many hours, what floors I went to, and then leadership and relevant projects, and then community service. So these things, some of them are like 10 years old, and people ask me like, why, if you are a nurse now, do you still keep your Starbucks job on my resume? And the reason why I do is because I worked at Starbucks for 10 years, and when I became a nurse, I actually bounced around a couple hospitals. I was at 3 hospitals within 3 years, not intentionally, just a couple things didn't work out. But I keep that Starbucks one on there because I learned a lot from Starbucks. I was there for 10 years. I managed, not a manager, but I was a shift supervisor for 9 years. So I feel like that shows dedication. That shows all the tasks that I was doing, all the leadership skills I learned were from that. And I was an LAPD Explorer as well for 6 years. So I felt keeping this on my resume would do me a little bit of good because I didn't want them to look at my resume and be like, you bounce around a lot. However, I have done other things for several years in my life. Also, community service is a really big thing to me, so I just wanted to leave that in there. So in my actual portfolio, on one side, I have every single certificate. So here's my certificate that I graduated my nursing. I did a copy of my bachelor's, my associates, my in STEM, my associates in nursing, and then I graduated with honors from nursing school. This is just proving that I have my license, all my certifications, my ACLS, BLS, my fit test. Oh, I'm glad I have this because now I can show, sorry, I need this for clinical. I'm glad I have a copy of it. And then my NIH, and then here's my little pharmacology card. So on that side, I have all of my credentials and stuff. And then on the other side, which is this, I have my letters of recommendation, and then I can't show you these because they're written from families, but I have my DAISY nominations. And some hospitals are very big on the DAISY. I have never won the DAISY award, but I've been nominated 5 times. So I just have those so that they can see what type of a person I am. So tips that I have for your interview: please dress professionally. Please show up at least 15-20 minutes early. Make sure that you are on time. Show up with your portfolio. If you are a guy, make sure you are nice, clean shaven. Your suit is nice, no lint, obviously no wrinkles. And if you're a girl, please do your hair, light professional makeup if that is your thing. No makeup, that is fine. But just know that everyone is looking at you and you want to stand out in a crowd. And so interview tips: be yourself. I can't stress that enough. I feel like I was about to bomb my interview because I was so nervous. I was competing with tons of people who had bachelors, who had masters. I had an associate's degree in nursing, and I was like, great, this hospital is trying to become magnet. Like, where are they going to want me? If you speak another language, definitely tell them that, because especially in like Los Angeles, there are people from all over the world who live here. So learning a different language or knowing a different language is definitely beneficial. But I'm going to tell you the story of what happened in my interview. I'm pretty sure you've heard this before because I've mentioned it in other nursing videos, but I will tell you how I got this turned around. Definitely research the facility that you are going to. And when everyone's going to ask you, why do you want to work for us? Well, because I need a job is not going to cut it. It's not going to be a good answer. So definitely research the facility and watch my video on why you should research the facility that you are applying to. because you definitely want to know, are they for-profit? Are they non-profit? What are they looking for in a nurse? What are their mission statements? You might not think that this is a big deal because every company has one, but when it comes to nursing and working in a hospital, it's actually a very big deal to the hospital, and they want to make sure that you are a right fit for them. So the first job that I applied for was actually a for-profit hospital. And I'm so glad that I found that out, because I was actually going to go and tell them how I love working in low-income communities and I like working for nonprofits, and money doesn't mean a thing to me. And that would have not been the most, like, for that specific hospital, the most thing that I should emphasize or talk about, because they were for profit. So just research the hospital that you're going to and truly tell them why you want to work for them. Simply because I just got out of school and I'm applying everywhere, like, that is not the best answer. Be genuine. So when I first got into my interview, the first question they asked me was, tell me about yourself. And I hate that question, because I'm like, what do you want to know? Like, what are you specifically asking me here? And I literally responded, I'm 27 years old and I have 2 cats. And I think I literally made that facial expression. I was like, I don't know. But then when one of the interviewers, I was with 4 people, broke the ice and said, no, tell me why you became a nurse. I can tell you 100 reasons why I became a nurse. And we ended up in a half-hour block. Everyone had a half-hour interview. I was there for an hour and a half almost. And I think that I've gotten every single job that I ever applied to and interviewed for was because I was genuine about why I love my job. I honestly don't, I know one person, my twin Clarissa, but I don't know anybody as passionate about my job, who loves their job as much as I do. And I emphasize that. I show that in the interview. And I think that's what landed me. Another thing is that going back to learning about the facility. This facility specifically told me that they are very big on HCAP scores. I had no idea what HCAP scores was when I first graduated nursing school. We talked about it briefly, but I didn't know exactly to a T. So when she told me to go home and research what HCAP scores was, I didn't know what they were going to ask me. I found out that it's a survey that inpatient patients get when, like, a week after their discharge, and they fill it out, and then that's how a lot of the hospitals get reimbursed. They actually get 50% of their revenue from these HCAP scores, because Medicare, the Center for Medicare Services, pays them that. So I went home and I actually researched what questions were on the HCAP scores list, and it was basically like, was your pain managed? Was your nurse friendly? Was your doctor friendly? Like, did they answer your questions? Stuff like that. Was cleanliness was one of them. So I literally went, I think there was like 18 to 21 questions, and I made an answer for each single question. How will I prevent falls? Hourly rounding, and if I couldn't round hourly, I would ask my CNA to take the odd hours. I would take the even hours. I would ask them if they were in pain, if they had to go to the bathroom. That way we could take care of that and prevent falls. So I literally had an answer to every single HCAP score that I could think of. And I feel like this showed them that I was willing to learn, go above and beyond before I was even hired, to make sure that I was a good fit for their hospital, because HCAPs was something that was really big for them. Putting my patient first was always something. So I definitely think that once I felt comfortable, once I started acknowledging the questions and realizing that I just had to be myself and not give them answers that they just wanted to hear. I was giving them genuine answers that made me feel, this is who I am as a person. If I'm not the right fit for you, that's fine, but just know that this is who I am, and I'm not going to change for that. And that is something that I feel will help you, is just seriously being yourself. Also, if you are already applying and you feel like you applied to several places and you just have not heard anything, be a little patient, be persistent, be on top of it, but just be a little patient, because some places take longer than others to get back to you. I applied for my job, I believe, in August. I got an interview notice in September, and I actually didn't start working until November. So 3 months. It took 3 months for me to get hired. When I applied for a county job, I applied in December, interviewed in March, and didn't start till April. So it takes a long time. Some places take up to 6 months. So just, I want to say apply to as many places as possible, but make sure that those places are actual places that you would like to work. And I heavily emphasize that please don't just apply to a job to get a job. If you can, please hold off. And that is all explained in the other video, because I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to love your job. I don't want you to get stuck working somewhere that you don't want just because somebody told you that that is the route that you should take. So anyway, those are my tips and tricks on interviewing and what to bring, how to make your portfolio. Bring 5 of these, don't forget, just in case you need one for every single person. And please spend the money. This was expensive. I think it cost me, $30 to like $60, which, okay, maybe that's not a lot of money to some people, but for me, when I only had like $20 every week at for Starbucks, $30 was a lot of money for me. However, you do want to stand out, you do want to look professional, and your portfolio is sitting on top of 300 other people that they have to interview. So, oh, I forgot, there's also a letter of intent. I don't think my letter of intent is in here. No, okay. I was gonna read you my letter of intent, but basically, like, I wanted to work at the county more than anything in my life. And that was because I grew up in that neighborhood. I wanted to be a trauma ICU nurse more than anything, because I grew up in that neighborhood and I saw how gang violence just tore people apart. So basically, my letter of intent to the county was explaining why I wanted to work there, and it was genuine. Like, I really wanted to give back to those people. That's another thing, when people ask you in the interview, why did you become a nurse? Don't say to give back. Don't say because I want to help people. If those are reasons, you and 100 other nursing students are going to say the same exact thing. Explain why. So if I have a lot of friends who stated, like, my father had cancer, he was in the hospital for several months, I saw the nurses, how well they took care of him, and that just inspired me to be a nurse. Say that story. Tell them that reason. Don't just say, like, oh, I want to give back, I like helping people. Why do you like helping people? What sets you apart from the person that's going to interview before you or after you? Just make sure that you want to stand out. Another thing is, I remember someone told me that, you know, everyone wears black to interviews and dresses professionally, so she wore like a bright pink suit or something, like something that's gonna make her stand out from the rest. I definitely agree with those things. So if you guys have any other tips or tricks on how you got jobs, please link them down below or comment down below so that we can help everybody out. Okay, thanks, bye.